got lots of people
Also
going.
on 5-3.
531-844.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Vice President of Technedemics, Bill Leonard.
How's everybody doing? Welcome. So hey, welcome to the Octagon. It is time to survive the Octagon. How many of you are ready to do that? All right, as speakers, as you can probably tell, the Octagon is great for you, but more of a challenge for us. Right? Because at every given moment, we've been trained not to give up our back to the audience. In this case, we're going to have to be working it, right? So when I'm here, the beauty of it is, though, while you might see my back, you'll also be able to see me on the screens. Okay? So, want you to have this incredible learning experience today. How many of you are ready to do that? Oh, let's try that again. How many of you are ready to do that? Yeah, so here we go. So, in a few minutes, I'm going to bring up Chris Records, but I have a couple of housekeeping things I want to share with you. Because today is, and the next 2 days are all about learning. It's all about what? All about what? Awesome. And the way we learn is, you have all seen the Technedemics way, is we learn through interaction. We learn by doing. How many of you would agree with that statement? You learn by doing. So as we go through this process over the next 3 days, we're going to actually have you build out your own e-commerce Shopify store. How many of you want to do that? Yeah, absolutely. Now, the beauty of it is we're going to do it the same way that we do our e-com incubator. The same way as we do what?
E-com incubator.
You better believe it, interactively. We're going to have you sit down right at the table. So, please do bring your computers with you. You'll notice there are power cords in the middle of your table. You have all that accessible to you so that you can maximize your experience and actually apply what you learn. How many of you have been in events before where you haven't had that application? You came in and you didn't get the knowledge that you need because you didn't put it into good use or practice. Absolutely. So as we start looking into this process, how many of you are willing to participate? Okay. Say the word participate.
Participate.
Absolutely. So this real quick story, I want to share with you why Technedemics is so valuable to me. For years, I've been in the education space. It all started with the Rich Dad organization. How many of you have read Rich Dad Poor Dad? Excellent. Yeah, so at Rich Dad, I ran the operations for 7 years and I had the opportunity to get to meet Jim Piccolo. How many of you know Jim? Oh, you better believe it. In fact, Jim was our thought leader on marketing. We brought Jim into the Rich Dad organization to build us our e-commerce engine. For 20 years, he's become one of my best friends, a mentor of mine, as to many of you. How many of you have Jim as mentor?
Yeah, right here.
That it, really? How many of you want Jim as your mentor? Absolutely. You pair that with Chris Records. And all of a sudden you have a dynamic duo. Marketing, business. The channels that are opening to us at Technedemics are tremendous. Chris, 8 income earner online. How many of you would like to be an 8 income earner online? Wait a second here. Hold on. Really? How many of you would like to be an 8 income earner online? It all starts one step at a time, right? No matter where you are. With 3 income, 4 income, 5 income, whatever that is. This is our opportunity to put that to practice. So that being said, I'd like to take a moment and have you watch on the screen here a short clip about our CEO and founder, Mr. Chris Record. Roll. the other thing that we're going to do this weekend is we are going to not only share the vision with Techademics and stuff like that, but we're also going to do a mastermind style environment up here. We're going to literally put together what we can do to do the most high value, high packed experience for you, where you can learn how to be able to walk out of here with instructions and step-by-step plans to be able to build a successful business. We're going to do that in a combination of ways. One is I have my laptop, so I'm going to be able to share with you literally log right in the website, share with you specific details, share with you strategies from this computer. When I'm doing this, I know my back's going to be to you, but we'll put it up all up on the screens. The other way is I'll be able to be interactive. So throughout this weekend, we are going to give you assignments, which is why you're seated at tables. So get to know some of the people at your tables. And you can switch it up throughout the course of the weekend if you want to. That's fine, but get to know some of them. Because if I give you something like a quick 1 minute quick fire round to do something, then I want you to be able to do it, and then we can kind of pass around mics and shout out some responses. Treat this like it was a mastermind. And I want to give you the idea of where this came from. A couple of years ago, I ran my first mastermind, really about a year and a half ago. And I began running these masterminds quarterly where we'd have 50 or 60 people come out. And for that experience, people were gladly paying as much as $10,000, and it was well worth their time. It was an environment much like this one right here. What we would do is we would do sessions, and then we would break out on small tables like this with your computer, and you would quickly see if you could implement what was being taught. Because if you could quickly take action on it, you're likely to do something with it. If you just go to a conference all weekend, digest the notes, by the time you get home, you need to take a break because your mind is overwhelmed. And then it's just, next thing you know, you're just stalled. You're stalled out. So our mastermind environment is more where there's going to be a little bit of interaction. And so feel free to be able to not only communicate with the speakers on stage, but also get to know the people at your table and get to know people at this event. There's something far more valuable than anything else here, and that is the networking. The connections you're going to make here. If I look at some of the most successful people that we have inside of Techademics right now, almost every single one of them shares the same story. They came to one of our events, and they ended up meeting 2 or 3 people there, and ended up kind of going back and forth with accountability and strategies and help, and that was the difference for them with their store, with their success. And so, as much as you're here to take notes from a speaker, remember, you are in full control of your success. All we can do on stage is be able to share with you what's working, share with you tips, share with you strategies, but it has to be you actually doing something with it. So take that initiative on your own. Nobody is going to force your success on you. You have to be the one that decides your success. Are you guys committed to that? Yeah. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll provide you with the strategies, the how-to. Now, you didn't pay $10,000 to be here. That's the big difference. You're getting to experience a mastermind-like environment. We're trying this out. Very different than last conference where we did basically long room. We're going to see how it goes. Before I get involved on my laptop, I want to paint to you a vision of how we got where we are now. I want to share with you how we ended up here. How did we end up with Techademics in the first place? How did we even come up with the name? Why are we even doing this? What's our passion? So without going into long detail, because many of you already know my story, it just goes with the short version goes with something like this. The year was 2005, and I was living in Roseville, California, and at the time, I had a successful internet business, but it was like making, $5,000 to $10,000 a month, but it was pretty successful. Back then I was blogging, believe it or not, and I was selling for Amazon.com and Google AdSense. This is 2005, so you can see I've been doing this for a decade. I need you to understand that first and foremost, for over a decade. Then something happened, and this is where my whole life shifted. And this might have happened to many of you. I had this business that was creating over a 6-figure income, but I was losing interest in it. Search engine optimization was my strategy. I was writing blog posts and getting the rank in Google. One day, Google came in and shifted everything. Google has an algorithm, and they change it every so often, every couple of years. One day, my business went from around $10,000 a month to nothing. All of my sites got sort of de-indexed in Google. I would look for them, and they weren't showing up in the top 10. Now, this is common. If anybody knows SEO and how this works, this is common. You have to refigure yourself out every single time they do this. But I just didn't have the energy. I didn't want to do it. So what I did was I sold my business for not a lot of money to a friend, and I decided to pursue a different venture, a different career. I decided to get involved in real estate. So here I was with all